This is part 2 of our Portuguese campervan trip. If you haven't seen part 1, then allow me to fill you in. By the way, if you notice any penises crudely scrawled on the back of our campervan throughout this video, I'd like to apologise. They were drawn by my 2 boys who think it's hilarious. We're driving around Portugal for a month trying to find somewhere to live. In last week's video, something terrible happened. We left the pop-top roof on the campervan up and drove straight through a height restriction barrier, ripping off the entire roof and leaving us stranded in the middle of Portugal. We ended last week's video on that cliffhanger, and now it's time for part 2.
There's a camper company called Siesta Campers, and they actually sent me a message on one of my videos on Instagram saying, like, we might be able to help, let us know. So they're looking at the photos now and seeing if they might be able to help us, if they can help us. I told them I'll literally get Siesta Campers tattooed on my chest across there.
It looks like I'm gonna have to get inked again, because Siesta Campers came good and told us all we needed to do was drive our campervan to their workshop in the Algarve, 4 hours away, in 38-degree heat, with no roof. So that'll be interesting. But before we embarked on that journey, we wanted to see how much it would cost us to rent an apartment in Ericeira, or Ericeira, or whatever the hell this place is called. So we met with an estate agent that showed us around one that had just come onto the market.
Oh, sea view.
Small sea view.
Sea view, waking up to the sea.
So this 3-bedroom apartment that came with access to a tennis court, a gym, a swimming pool was €1,900, which works out about $1,600 a month. Anyway, enough looking around apartments, we've got a campervan to fix.
We're about to check out of our hut. Good riddance. Hey?
What's a ridden?
I don't really know what a ridden is, that's a really good question.
The journey down south took us about 4 hours. It was brutal, but to be honest, we didn't really care because at least we could continue the road trip. I want to say from the bottom of my coal black festering lump of coal, some might call a heart, thank you to everyone who saw my Instagram of the accident when it happened and reached out. Hey, how are you? Good. Should we bring her in? Cool. We finally made it down to Siesta Campers' workshop in the Algarve.
They were so sweet, and like when we got there, like they gave us like cold water and like played with the kids, and it's awesome. Sweet.
Look what they've loaned us while they fix it. Do you like it?
I love it so much. I want to trade ours.
For those camper nerds out there, it's a T2 Brazilian combi, and they're going to lend it to us for a few days while we get ours fixed.
It was so cute.
So beautiful, but
I
just so
loved it. It was like an
clumsy
Instagram dream.
Yeah.
It's like you see people on Instagram, the van life people driving these things, and you think, wow, it's so aesthetically pleasing.
No power steering, no air conditioning, so it was a
tough drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tough drive.
I have always wanted to do a little trip in one of these old VW camper vans. So I'm really happy right now. I know I shouldn't be because we have a massive bill to fix our roof, but look how cute she is. I love her. I absolutely love it. And I love the fact that it has the old school windows. Look at this.
It's like driving something that I made in my back garden.
So after a couple of sleepless nights and more emotions than a screening of The Notebook while Mercury is in retrograde, we finally had got back on track. And I had the drama I needed to make this video a little bit more interesting than just a family from Bath going camping for a bit. So we drove over to this Airbnb that I found, which you loved, didn't you?
I absolutely fell in love with it. I wanted to live there. If there was a school near there, or we had schooling options near there, I would just live in that exact house. Very rustic, very charming, but we spent most of our time outside. It was just perfect.
This towel here, I got this from an ex-girlfriend on my 12th birthday. It's 30 years old. I think it's the oldest thing that I own.
It's very absorbent.
It's a good towel, isn't it? It's a great towel. I mean, you might be wondering why somebody would buy their partner at 12 years old a towel. Don't really know, but...
I feel like it was an 80s thing.
Hang on, it wasn't in the 80s. This was in the 90s. Don't age me.
Babes, you were born in the 80s.
Yeah, I know. And when I was 12, obviously, it's going to be 92. The hardest part so far has been sleeping in a van in a 30-degree heat with 2 kids. But I bought some like mosquito netting to go over the doors so we can sleep with the doors open. Before I was like, I'd rather roast to death in a van with my family than have one mosquito touch me.
We are about to venture into town. This town is called Lagos, and the place that we're staying is really close by, and we really like this place, so I think we're going to check it out with a view of potentially this might be the spot. Gonna take the camper out, which I think you're a bit nervous about driving, aren't you?
Terrified, man. Terrified.
Glad I'm not driving yet.
Very hot in there.
But yeah, I love it so much.
Just doesn't even feel like anything I've driven recently, because most stuff I've driven recently is obviously quite modern, and the brakes work and stuff, and this is like, it's just a different experience. It's kind of driving, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it is. It's like, I feel like I'm on like a horse and cart almost. I'm trying to frame it as like being really romantic, but I think I'd rather power steering and ABS brakes if I'm honest. No, Grayson, I'm not going to buy you a knife. No, I don't care if it's a pocket knife. You don't need a pocket knife. You'll cut your brother, I know what you're like. It's a historic maritime city. Lagos is renowned for its stunning coastline and beautiful beaches. Some of the most famous ones include Praia Dona Ana and Praia do Camelo. Why do I have to name stuff so awkwardly? All right, it's about 32 degrees today. We are just dripping in sweat.
Rufus, when I just opened the back of the camper van to get him out of the van, I had to get a towel and wipe his face because he was like, he was wet. He was a sweaty morsel.
Life has this way of occasionally pulling down its pants and just squatting down and taking a big old dump on you, to quote Yates. But here's the thing, every slap in the face, every kick in the groin, every gut punch from the fist of fate, they're not just the universe being a bit of a prick. They're like the contrast settings on your life's display. Pain is just a way of adjusting the brightness and contrast on your perspective. So the next time you're on your knees, naked in the shower, whimpering, why me, for the love of Christ, over and over, remember, without the lows, the highs would just be, well, they'd just be the middle bit, to quote Yates again. And who wants to be in the middle? Apart from Kate Middleton. Just enjoy me. Just enjoy me.
It is our last morning in this little Airbnb. And we're actually really sad to be leaving it because it's, well, Hannah just said it's probably one of her favourite parts of the trip so far, staying here.
Something about it, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's an old farmhouse and there's loads of animals or what it is, but it's just so nice to be here, isn't it?
It feels like an oasis, doesn't it? After that trauma and to end up in this little kind of pocket of paradise, feels like a little oasis.
And having such a lovely Airbnb host, Ben, he came round last night with his girlfriend and cooked for us on the barbecue. It was like the nicest barbecue I've ever had.
They came round.
So sweet.
Yeah, they cooked these clams that they basically went down to the beach and they poured salt on these little kind of holes, and then these things come up and they pull them up and then they cook them with like white wine and butter and garlic, and they're just so delicious. And then he made some fish, and what Airbnb host would come round and cook for you and like, you know, bring around food and stuff. It was just, yeah, they were lovely. They were so sweet.
Yeah. It's funny, like, it's that cheesy thing though, isn't it? Of like, I feel like that camper van accident happened for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we were meant to come here.
Yeah, I think I've just like fallen in love with the Algarve for sure. And so is Hannah. And we're both.
Mine's not even so much the area, it's just this house.
The good thing about this house, right, we're in the Algarve, and cause a lot of the Algarve can be just like full of kind of, you know, the English touristy types, if you know what I'm talking about. And but this where we're staying is more like in the country, so it feels a bit like it's like outside of all of that city stuff, so it feels a bit more like proper Portuguese sort of feeling to it, which is great. So you feel like you're not in with all of that kind of loud, bombastic kind of British thing, you know. It's a bit more secluded, which I like. Makes me think when we do move here, it'll be somewhere a bit more secluded. Yeah, right, anyway. I suppose we better pack then.
We have a new roof. We have a new roof. All fitted, ready to go. I just need to get it cleaned now because it's disgustingly filthy, so I'm gonna go and take it to somewhere to get cleaned, but yeah, there we go. New roof, new bed. Good to go. Back on the road. We've got ourselves a surfboard, a couple of bodyboards, beach is down there. Guys are just putting on their wetsuits and we're going to do some surfing and bodyboarding. After Sagres, we went somewhere called Porto Covo. Again, it was one of those places where you go and you just instantly fall in love with it.
Yeah.
It was quite a small little town, but
probably one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. Like the sky was just like orange, and the light was just like, it looked like you could be somewhere in like California or something, didn't it? Like there was a whole real like skater, like surf vibe going on, and I really like that because the people tend to be really like chilled, don't they?
And we drove around to a couple of campsites and they were all like, we're full, so we were like, what are we going to do? So we're like, we got to go for the first time, we're going to wild camp somewhere, and you can get fined €800 if you get caught. We found somewhere to camp. It's right by the sea, but we're not allowed to camp here. We just saw the police drive past, so we're hoping.
Feeling edgy.
I'm hoping they're going to let us away with it. I'm just going to explain to them we've got 2 kids. We don't know where else to do.
They'll see how cute I am, and then they won't worry.
That's the plan. So we were like, let's just risk it. We wild camped last night, and here, look at our view today. Look at that.
I didn't sleep too well because I was very worried about getting busted by the police, but we got away with it.
But where we parked was on this beach, and it was just so beautiful.
That was my favourite part of the trip. You have your morning coffee, and the kids are still asleep. The stars aligned that morning, I think. Like, and we wouldn't have had that if we didn't have the disaster of the camper van. And like, I would way rather camp somewhere like that, even though there's no facilities or anything, and wake up like that, than pay thousands of pounds to stay in a fancy hotel. Like it was so, I can't even describe like how good it felt to sit there with our little camp chairs and our morning coffee in silence with nobody, and just the waves and the sun rising. Like it was really special.
We are in a little place called Cascais, is it? Cascais, I think is how you pronounce it. It's supposed to be one of the most expensive places to live in Portugal. It is very clean and tidy, lots of nice restaurants. It even smells like rich people. You know, that kind of synthetic, kind of polished smell that you get with wealth. We're just going to explore this little town for the next sort of hour or so, and then head on to our next place, which is a bit further up north. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
You didn't get that like rustic, like earthy feeling from it, you know. It felt more like this is where you come if you have money.
A lot of money. Yeah. I mean, I could totally live there if I had loads of money, but it's the sort of place you need to live. Well, you need to have lots of money to live there, basically. Yeah.
It was really cool though. We went to that little I can't remember what it's called, but it was like
jumped off the bridge.
A bridge and a castle, and there's like an estuary that runs out to the sea, and everyone just gets in the estuary, and
it's lovely.
That's what I love about Portugal, is that everyone's just constantly celebrating the outdoor spaces, and like that's what they do. They don't need to like spend money to have a great day. You just go to the beach with your cool
With
box
your brolly
and then
in,
you're
yeah,
done.
that's it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Staying with the kids was weirdly enjoyable. Like, I was dreading, like, oh my god, I'm gonna be.
You had anxiety, didn't you?
I was so terrified of it. Like being around them every day. This is gonna be so stressful. Like
no
in that
bedtime.
confined environment. Actually worked out really well. Like you kind of after it, you kind of mourn everyone dispersing when you get back to the UK.
I think that's one thing I found really difficult when we came home was even though we were all together in the house because we had a week left of the summer holidays. Everyone was doing their own thing, and I almost felt like I had separation anxiety.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like I was a bit like, oh, no one needs me, or it just, even when we were together and we were all doing different things in the van, like the kids might be like watching a film, and we're like, you're playing guitar and I'm reading or whatever. Like we're all doing our separate things, but we're all like together and content.
Tomorrow we're going to pack up the camper, head up north for a couple of hours, get on the ferry and then go back to the UK, and we're all really sad about it, if I'm honest. Like we're all feeling like we don't want to go, like we're not ready to leave, like we still feel like we want to stay here we just don't want to get the ferry back, basically, which is a really good sign. It shows us that this definitely is the place for us. We just feel like this is where we're happier. We feel happier here than we do in the UK, that's for sure.
Just put it there and I'll put it onto the table. 3, 4, you can do it.
Chicken, cheese, pasta.
You said we could have more.
Can I just check, when do you want to move out? Like what age are you going to move out of our house?
I'm gonna move out 14.
14?
As long as I can live.
You want to stay with us forever?
Yeah, as long as I can live.
You're never moving out?
No.
No. And you're never getting a girlfriend either? No. Oh!
Ray, when are you moving out?
14.
14? You're not allowed to move out at 14, that's illegal.
It's only 4 years.
What do you mean, please?
Please.
You'd hate to live on your own, you'd live in squalor.
Grayson, you'd have to do everything for yourself.
I know, but I'd just be like grandma. I'm always gonna live in my room.